So it's New Year's morning I'm in the Chicago area, and it's really cold outside. It's -6 degrees is the air temperature, and I'm not even sure what the wind chill is. But when watching the news earlier this morning, was talking about how there was a record cold throughout the country, and I'm not really familiar with the weather is throughout the world. I mean, let's face it, the southern hemisphere might be really warm right now. It's their summertime. People, though, who are facing a situation where we have an extreme weather condition, and extreme weather conditions can be many things. Right now it's cold. In some cases, it'll be people who are snowed in. In some cases, it's people who are in flood time periods. But when encountering situations that are just not typical, that don't happen all the time, they're occasional. The first time you encounter them after quitting smoking, they really can be trigger circumstances. Now we're not only dealing with the first New Year's without smoking for people who quit within the last 365 days. We might be dealing with people who are maybe, snowed in. We might be dealing with people who are stuck because it's too cold to go out. And that can cause certain reactions that are somewhat normal reactions when you're encountering these situations, whether you would quit smoking or not. Hey, whether you'd ever been a smoker or not. If people are snowed in, if people are frozen in, if people can't get out for one reason or another, they can start to experience a cabin fever kind of effect. You throw that on top of, the first New Year's, it's a new holiday. It's the first weekend after a holiday. So this might be a 3-day weekend where normally you don't have 3-day weekends. All these different variables can be causing thoughts like, I smoke when I experience this, or I don't know what to do right now. And what did I used to do when I didn't know what to do? Well, I would smoke. These situations can trigger thoughts for cigarettes. And sometimes people get concerned, like, because they're thinking about cigarettes, does that mean they can't sustain their quit? No, thoughts for cigarettes are never going to put you back to smoking. Never. It won't be a thought for a cigarette that can cause a relapse. It'll be an action on that thought. You don't take the action, the thought will pass, and you will have learned how to deal with that specific trigger. That's all quitting smoking is. Once you get through the initial quitting process, it's a learning process. It's how do I get through all these different scenarios without smoking? It's just crucial to understand that every problem that you faced as a smoker and you got through, you can now face it as a former smoker and get through it too. After facing similar circumstances a few times, you don't even think about cigarettes. Not smoking becomes the habit during that particular kind of scenario. Again, new other problems or new other scenarios will pop up. They're not necessarily problems. They may be good celebratory kind of things. They will trigger, like, I smoke when I do this, but then you don't smoke. And then, you face a similar situation, a few days, a few weeks, a few months later, you don't smoke. And pretty soon you realize you don't smoke when you do this. That's how not smoking will become the norm. That you just don't think about cigarettes when these kind of things happen. All you need to do to get through extraordinary time periods and ordinary time periods with your quit intact is simply continue to stick with a personal commitment that you hopefully made when you stopped, to never take another puff.